All right, so let me see if I can explain how these work. So I'll take the lower third, number 2. These boxes underneath, basically, they are memory slots. You can save up to 10, and you can format or you can set up 10 different variations of your lower third. And then I'll move on to explaining what these buttons do. So let's give it a try. Let me turn this on, and then let's go for the lower third 2. So let's create a lower third 2. I'm out of imagination right now. Slot 1, and then you can set up a logo if you want to. Let me see. Let's get my own logo over there, and that's it. And then you save slot number 1. All right. Now let's make some changes, but before anything else, let's just test this. LT2 slot 1. Perfect. Now let's say, So let's say I want to change that into Twitter. And let's do slot number 2. And then you click on slot number 2. Now you have a difference between slot number 1 and slot number 2. Now you notice there's a small dot on the bottom left. That is because the image in the lower third is different from the one set up as the default. So any variation from the default logo, you'll have a small dot on it. Now let's create one more. Here, slot number 3. And let's choose another image. Let's say the YouTube one. And we've got slot number 3. Now let's pretend, and I've done it before, but I didn't explain it. Let's pretend you made a mistake. You want to go back. You want to delete memory slot number 3. You just press and hold, and you release the mouse button, and that's it. And then you can make any changes you want. Lower third, and save the memory slot. So this is how you save your memory slots. So you've got number 1, number 2, number 3. So you've got 3 different variations on a single lower third. Now, what do we do about these buttons? What is this? What is this? And what is this? So let's start with the auto trigger. And instead of saying anything, let me just show you, and we'll take it from there. So before I do, so we can select 1, 2, and 3, and as you can see, nothing happens. Now, when I turn on the the auto trigger, and I press number 1, do you notice what happened? Basically, it activated the lower third number 2, and it ran the memory slot number 1 I clicked. So let's click on memory slot number 3. Number 2. So while live, you can make the change immediately, or even if it's off and you know you want to run number 3, you just click on number 3 and it immediately starts it. If I turn that off, let's wait for that to disappear. So if I turn that off, you only get a preview on this side of what it should be. Now let's address these 2 buttons, the auto load and the show time customs time settings. But before I show you these, let me show you these. So we're going to look at the global times, which is indicated here, but locally. So if you don't put anything, these times will be applied to every lower third. I've got something set up here myself, but let's see this one. So, and we have this button as well, the auto load. Basically what it does, it loads automatically every single memory slot one at a time. Now there is one thing we need to see, but first let's run it as it is without this option on, because we're going to use the defaults. So once we start, it runs first slot. So it eases in for 5 seconds, remains for 5 seconds, and then it goes away. And then when it hits the 10 seconds, so inactive time, it comes back. So 5 seconds to ease in, 5 more seconds to disappear, so a total of 10. And then this eases out and remains invisible up to 10 seconds. So basically it takes 5 seconds to ease in and ease out, and 5 seconds visible fully, and 5 seconds inactive. So you have to take that into account when you set up your times. Now, let's say you want different timings on this one. So let's say I want to ease in 5 seconds. I want it to remain visible fully, so after the animation has eased in for 10 seconds, and then away for 10 seconds. So this will be applied to each one of them. All right, so we've got the options. Let's turn it on and let's see this happen. And you can always look at the timer right there and see if that fits you. So when it hits 15, it should start disappearing. There we go. Moves on to the bottom timer. When it hits 15, it should start again, but showing slot memory number 2. There we go, easing in for 5 seconds, remaining for 10, and then easing out. After 15 seconds, there we go, starting the animation, and there we go. So you can set up for each lower third up to 10. And if you make any mistake, of course, you can always erase it. I hope it helps.